hours after the 9.1 earthquake occurred off the coast of Sumatra, the tsunami struck an extremely long stretch of Sri Lanka's coastline, more than 800 kilometers or two-thirds of the coast. It affected 13 of Sri Lanka's 25 districts, including Jaffna in the north, the eastern and southern coast, and parts of the west coast as far north as Chilla. The waves were high as 10 meters as they hit the shoreline, and they penetrated inland up to 500 meters in many places and as far as 1 kilometer in others. The impact was highly variable, and the extent to which areas were inundated depended to a large degree on factors such as topography. Widespread destruction killed over 35,000 people, destroyed 120,000 homes, leaving over 516,000 people displaced in Sri Lanka alone. The government calculated that over 1 million people were directly affected out of a total population of 19 million. Vulnerable groups, particularly fishermen living close to the shore in simple houses and shelters, bore the brunt of the impact. Many lived in inland, were traveling on public and private transport on the coastal roads were killed. Nearly 1,000 people died in the train that was washed away, most of whom were traveling from North Central, Central and Vimba provinces to the Southern province. Also, farmers and traders who lived inland, especially in Uva and Sabaragamuwa provinces, and practiced selling their produce in coastal market too, had succumbed to death or badly devastated. The number of women and children killed was disproportionately high. Apart from the affected communities who were already comparatively poor in the Sri Lankan context, the tsunami compounded the vulnerabilities due to LTTE conflict was ongoing then. The cost of the damage was assessed at $1.5 billion. The government later assessed the total cost of the required relief, rehabilitation and reconstruction effort at approximately $2.2 billion. This was estimated on the basis of replacing destroyed infrastructure and to achieve full recovery. In the hours following the tsunami, volunteers of the Sri Lanka Red Cross Society was immediately on the scene providing assistance. Over 5,000 Sri Lanka Red Cross volunteers, 1,815 of whom were trained in first aid, distributed relief items, food and water and hygiene packs, administered basic first aid, helped recover bodies and trace the missing, managed accommodation of displaced people in welfare centers, and gave psychosocial support to a traumatized population. The Sri Lanka Red Cross headquarters mobilized teams, each comprising of 3 doctors and 6 volunteers with medical supplies, to 10 different districts. Along with the information coming back from the teams sent, and from the reports of branches, an assessment of the situation through Red Cross sources quickly emerged, and assistance needs could be prioritized. The Sri Lanka Red Cross Society was involved in the distribution of tents and assisted with the relocation of displaced people to schools, temples and public buildings. Wells were cleaned as part of the effort to reinstate access to safe water. The Sri Lanka Red Cross Society was also among the first to provide psychosocial support to affected families. This program grew with the support of partner national societies, particularly the American, Belgian and Danish Red Cross and the Turkish Red Crescent Society. Within the first 3 months, support had been provided to help restore people's livelihoods, particularly asset replacement such as boats and fishing equipment for fishing communities, as well as vocational training to help people take up trades linked to the reconstruction activities such as masonry, carpentry and electrical wiring. A movement tsunami task force chaired by the Sri Lanka Red Cross Society was immediately set up as a preliminary coordination and information sharing body for the National Society, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, the International Committee of Red Cross and Partner National Society. Many national societies arrived in the first month following the tsunami, and during the first year, over 24 national societies were actively engaged in the field with the tsunami operation. The need for a strong coordination mechanism was evidently needed, and as an innovation designed to address the special circumstances, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies recruited and placed a movement coordination delegate in the field. The Sri Lanka Red Cross Society, with support from various partner national societies and the IFRC and ICRC, pledged to build over 35,000 houses. This agreement was initiated by then Prime Minister and current President, His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa. From the outset, the Sri Lanka Red Cross and its partners were committed to building quality homes as a catalyst to rebuilding the lives of tsunami-affected communities. Access to materials and resources, skilled labor, the nature and location of the land available, security and access, and the desires of the communities themselves have all been considered in determining donor-driven, owner-driven, and other reconstruction approaches. A significant achievement was the commencement of a unique partnership involving the government of Sri Lanka, the World Bank, UN Habitat, and the Red Cross Red Crescent movement. The movement in Sri Lanka committed $25 million to the government-defined owner-driven housing program, which involves phased disbursement of cash grants directly to the bank accounts of beneficiary households. By working closely together, the partners delivered a package of financial and technical support to tsunami-affected households that enabled them to reconstruct an entire house to quality standards. Another area the Sri Lanka Red Cross and its partners focused more on was health and care. Throughout the recovery process, the Sri Lanka Red Cross has sought to empower vulnerable communities to make informed decisions about their own health through a community participatory approach. In partnership with local authorities, Sri Lanka Red Cross and its partners targeted vulnerable communities and supported them to identify their own priority health issues and find local solutions that are sustainable and cost-effective. Improving the health of vulnerable communities also means increasing access to quality healthcare services. The Red Cross supported the government to rebuild 72 health clinics and hospitals and provided equipment and training for medical staff. Even today, Sri Lanka Red Cross is a growing provider of basic healthcare services across Sri Lanka. Working in line with government health policy, it is standardizing skills development and establishing a sustainable network of volunteers and staff trained as service providers and instructors in first aid, psychosocial support, and community health awareness. Focusing on water and sanitation, sustainable access was ensured by employing a range of diverse and innovative community-based solutions. These have included the introduction of solar-powered operated water pumps, rainwater harvesting in communities and schools, and providing of water filters. The Sri Lanka Red Cross was using community participatory hygiene promotion activities with a focus on safe water usage to complement its provisions of water and sanitation infrastructure. Sri Lanka Red Cross also achieved a considerable success in restarting livelihoods for households both directly and indirectly affected by the tsunami. Immediate cash for work projects gave community members an opportunity to earn money through the debris cleaning. Participation in such schemes benefited the community at large and also helped people to start to overcome the psychosocial trauma caused by the disaster. The timely replacement of tools and other productive assets lost or damaged in the tsunami helped people to get back to work. A high proportion of fisher families and cooperatives have received boats, engines and nets, and women have been benefited from the targeted distribution of sewing machines, wire-making machines and other home-based livelihood assets. Sri Lanka Red Cross sought to build on existing skills and to expand upon new and existing livelihood pursuits at home and in the workplace. Support for vocational training through the Sri Lankan Vocational Training Authority has been an important element of the tsunami recovery. Men and women in vulnerable communities have learned how to cultivate mushrooms and cinnamon, grow flowers for sale, and start up small-scale food processing projects at home. Another successful approach has been a school-based program where teachers are trained to educate children about hazards and how to respond them. Red Cross volunteers play a part in the school training sessions, and children are encouraged to join the Red Cross Red Crescent youth movement and continue the disaster management awareness among their friends and in their communities. The valuable role of the Red Cross in this type of risk reduction is recognized by the government of Sri Lanka and its national disaster roadmap. The Red Cross has also pre-positioned emergency relief stock and have strategically located warehouses with established systems and procedures. The combination of trained staff and volunteers with access to relief tools across the country has significantly increased the Red Cross capacity to launch timely, high-quality localized disaster response operations, very recently evident through the coastline, the landslide relief response.
දරුවට අවුරුදු 2යි සුනාමි එනකොට
නෝන තමයි මුලින්ම කියන්නේ ඒ වැල්ලේදී දැක්කේ
මූඩාර වෙනද නැති විදියට ඉස්සරහට ගලාගෙන
ජර බර ගාලා මා හන මේ ගෙවල් කඩාගෙන
පස්සේ හැරිලා බලනකොට අපේ එක ගෙයක් වැටෙනවා අපි දැක්කා ගහක් අල්ලගෙන හිටියේ ඒ ගහ ගැලවිගෙන දරුවා අතේ හිටියේ
ඔරු බෝට්ටු ඒව සේරම මේ අඟුඩින් අරම යන්න එන්නේ ඉතින්
තෙල්වත් ඒ දුම්රිය පෙරිලයි කියලා ආරංචි වුණා ඒක ආරංචිල බලනකොට එතනදිත් මගේ අම්මයි නංගි නැති වුණ බව ආරංචි වුණා.
ඉතින් ගොඩක් ජීවිත නැති වුණා.
අපි එදා තමයි සුනාමි කියන නම දන්නේ. මුළු ගෙවල්ම යට වෙලා තිබුණේ පොළොව විතරයි අපේ ඉතුරු වෙලා තිබුණේ.
මොකක්වත් ගන්න දෙයක් ඉතුරු වෙලා තිබුණේ නැහැ. අපිට අනිල රෙද්ද කැලලක්වත් තිබුණේ නැහැ අවස්ථාවේ.
ජලපාරට අවු වෙලා ගොඩක් දුක් විඳින්න වුණා.
මාස 6ක් 7ක් විතර පන්සල් වල ඔය ස්කෝලවල් වල
ස්ටේෂන් එක තුල තමයි පොඩි කුඩාරමක් ගහගෙන හිටියා. පළමුවෙන්ම අපට ආවේ රතුකුරුස සමාජය.
රතුකුරුසෙන් තමයි අපිට ඒ ඇඳුම් පැළඳුම් හෝ අර ළමයින්ට පොත්පත්
ටෙන්ට් දිගාගෙනත් ඉන්න කට්ටියට සැලසුම් ඇති කරලා දුන්නා. ඇහුව ගයක් හදලා දෙන්න මේ වගේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ කැමතිද? ඉඩම් පෙන්වන්න එක්කගෙන ආවා අපිව. රෙඩ් ක්‍රෝස් එකෙන් මැදිහත් වෙලා අපිට මේ ගෙවල් ලබා දුන්නා.
රැකියාවටත් උදව් කරන්න ඉතින් ආයතන මැදිහත් වුණා.
ස්වයං රැකියාව වශයෙන් බීරලු මේ කර්මාන්ත කරනවා.
මම අද යහපත් විදිහට ජීවත් වෙනවා. මට දැන් දුකක් එකක් නැහැ.
ගෙවල් වලත් කිසි අඩුපාඩුවක් කියන්න වරදක් නැහැ. ලස්සන ගමනක් යන්න අපිට මේ පාර පින්වල දුන්නේ රතු සමාජය.
තව ඉදිරියටත් ඉතින් අපේ සර්ව ශක්තියෙන් ජීවත් වෙනවා. සුනාමියට අවුණයි කියලා නන්දුව අතාරින්නේ නැහැ.
In the end, the Sri Lanka Red Cross Society, along with its partner national societies, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, and the International Committee of the Red Cross, managed to reach over 3 million Sri Lankans with better access to water and sanitation, improved access to health and care services, providing over 35,000 housing, supporting communities to be resilient towards disasters, and ensuring organizational development.